everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Tuesday, September 2, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call tomorrow night, Wednesday, September 3rd, after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Talk about all the buffoonery going on. You want to make sure you're in a comfortable position, relaxed into your body, focused on your breath rising and falling, as still as a statue. Now, how many of us on this planet right now, our viewpoint is from a serious mind? The thing with that is that you cannot be happy with a serious mind. With a festive mind, you can be happy. Take this whole life as a myth, as a story. It is one. But once you take it this way, you will not be unhappy. Osho. How many of us right in this now moment allow ourselves to trust the process of life? Whenever you do not allow yourself to trust the process of life, you tend to cling to it all along the way. What's the definition of worrying? What is it? Does anybody know what the definition of worrying is? Worrying is the mind attempting to not create what it doesn't want by obsessing about what it doesn't have or want. Okay? I'll say that again. Worrying is the mind attempting to have or want, is the mind attempting to not create what it doesn't want by obsessing about what it doesn't have or want. It's an unconscious spin cycle. And this is exactly how all of us on this planet manifest more of what we do not want, and is one of the greatest ways to drain our manifesting vibrations. If you always think about what you do not want, you don't want to happen, how much energy is left to focus on what you do want to have happen? You might notice that your mind has a strong tendency to become fixated on certain thought patterns and to get wrapped around one little idea about what it doesn't want to occur. It unconsciously creates this repetitive, mini, futuristic fear that we often refer to as worrying. And the mind tends to obsess, dwell, and get hooked into whatever it thinks it has to have to be happy, loved, free, important, rich, and so on. It especially becomes wrapped around those things it believes it cannot have. Imagine that. Wraps itself around things it believes it cannot have. So if your mind naturally is an obsessaholic, why not fixate it on feeling what it's like to manifest your dream life? Just turn it around. Period. Now, being caught in this worrying habit, which is a lot of people on this planet do every single second, it's like a couch potato stuck in the deepest crevice of the couch. They are watching some completely ridiculous rerun on TV, yet cannot find the motivation, desire, or creativity to get out of their cozy sinkhole and do anything new or different. And that type of mindset can suck you into its hypnotic inner TV entertain you for hours, days, years, and even lifetimes. It feeds on your fear. That if you let go of control, stop clinging, and start trusting life, then the worst possible thing that you don't want to happen will suddenly happen. Like I've been saying, things are reversed. And the funny thing is, any of us can easily create anything we want in life with trust. And when you deeply trust that all of your desires will manifest at the perfect time, they simply do. Timing is everything for the soul. When you let go of your ego's agenda, you realize there was nothing to worry about in the first place. Everything is always taken care of in your life. The soul has a much bigger plan. All that it takes is going within and allowing this universe to support you and making your every desire blossom into reality. The more you go inside and access the infinite divine consciousness that you truly are, the easier it is to naturally live from a state of trust. As we continue on this planet to explore our divine nature, dive deeper into the truth of who and what we truly are, we will start to feel greater waves of trust wash over and through us. It is impossible for you to worry when you remember that you are an infinite and timeless being, because you know that nothing outside of you can hurt or impact you negatively. Trust is inherent, a natural part of you. It's inherently a natural part of you. You were born to trust. It's your natural state of being. As a baby, that's all that you knew how to do. You didn't know doubt or worry. In the most primal parts of yourself, always trusted what was happening and knew that everything was perfect. It was only when your ego mind started claiming the kingdom that you started falling prey to the illusions of worry. Right now, in this very moment, in your life, what is the thing that you spend the most time worrying about? Decide right now to shift from that, worrying about this issue, to completely trusting. Each time you find yourself worrying about this particular issue, simply notice where this experience is occurring between your ears and relax. Notice how perfect the present moment is and how there is really nothing to worry about. Be aware of the worry habit, but yet don't buy into it. Like the center of the storm. Don't go into the storm. It is one of the most overlooked destructive habits that leak our precious energy away from enjoying life and living out our mission. What causes it to happen in the first place is that the mind simply lacks mental discipline, intention, and focus. Imagine that the worrying mindset is like a herd of wild, untrained horses running out of control in a small, tight corral. And the more undisciplined these horses are, the more frustrated they become in the corral. Problem here is not that these crazy horses are galloping everywhere out of fear. The real issue is that you choose to follow them. And when the reins on the mind are too tight or too loose, this herd will not listen and trample all over you. They'll stomp all over your feelings, your desires, relationships, leave your life dreams far behind in the dust. And the only way is to lasso the entire herd, teach them to become more conscious, And the golden key to consciousness is trust. And of late, there's a lot of people on this planet that have just gotten to the point where they don't trust anything or anyone. And it cascades into all things. Looking over their shoulder, constantly worrying, constantly distrusting, not believing anything, and then most importantly, not believing themselves or trusting themselves. Now, to get this mind back into the pleasure, you need to take it through the trust stable. Here's where you'll harness trusting reins over your entire herd, which is the mind and all these thoughts. First, let them know we are all heading off to the trust stable. Let them know that they don't have a choice in the matter. Steer each thought, okay, one by one, out of the worry corral and into the trust stable. And gently groom them. Give them all the love and attention they deserve. Close the worry gate behind you and do not open them again. And after you get every wild beast in this stable, this trust stable, you will soon be entering the expansive, free, open pleasure pastures beyond. How many of us experience ecstasy? Ecstasy is our very nature. Not to be ecstatic is simply unnecessary. To be ecstatic is natural, spontaneous. It needs no effort to be ecstatic. It needs great effort to be miserable. Now, many people are miserable. It takes a lot of energy and effort to be miserable. That's why you look so tired, because misery is really hard work. To maintain it is really difficult because you are doing something against nature, Osho. It's not your natural state of being, so you're expending a lot more energy to be miserable. And most of us don't think about that. We just be miserable. And everything is about movement. Okay? Movement is like when I say do things differently every day. And it doesn't have to be a lot. Okay? Your regular routine, just shift things around. Every day, do something. It can be just tiny, but shift it. You know why? Because this keeps you from hunkering yourself down in the comfort zone. Because the more you stay there, the more you don't do. The more you don't be. You just sink more and more and more. It's like you go to a chair and you sink, and it's endless, and the cushion just keeps sinking and sinking and sinking. And after a while, you can't get out. You can't pull yourself out. And how often, you ask yourself this question, how often do you adventure out of that? Out of habitual life. Into that place where you do not know what could happen next. Most of us are going, no, I'm not going there. I'm good here. You may have noticed that your ego is a master at creating habits. It craves to create the perfect comfort zone so it can feel the security, sameness, and receive an impenetrable force field of safety. And it is different for everyone. See? I mean, it doesn't matter. You know, you see a lot of people, they'll do a lot of things. They'll go hiking, they'll bungee jump, they'll jump out of planes, they're always on an adventure ride. Bikes, ATVs, you name it. Constantly. That's their form of comfort zone. Now, one might say, well, they're really active and they're always doing all this stuff. Yeah, but you'll notice that it's the same circle of things. It becomes comfortable to do all those things. And they don't branch out. They stay in it, but they're active, right? So it doesn't mean that you just sit and you're inactive to be in a comfort zone. It could be the opposite of that. It's just like I said, everybody's different. And you have somebody that jumps out of 10,000 feet out of a plane every weekend. And then you got the retired executive who may be sitting by the pool in paradise every day, sipping a cold pina colada. It doesn't matter. Whoever you are, you have some form of comfort zone established that is there for you, grow out of, and expand through. Now, an interesting thing is that a lot of people would be surprised at. Truth is that the ego has no real power of control and cannot create 100% safety in our lives. Ever, period. We do know that life is inherently insecure. Right? When we leave the body, which we call death on this planet, is a sure thing eventually. The mind can only fixate on the false notion of safety and hope that it will come true. True safety only comes from being in touch with your eternal self, that infinite part of you that will never die. What could be safer than that? But most of us choose to go outside of ourselves. It's like everything is an illusion. So that means everything in this world changes. The flux of matter is what makes life so exciting, spontaneous, and dynamic here. Your body is not the same body, obviously, that you atomically had 1 year ago. And 10,000 years from now, you may not recognize or understand half of what you see. And for most of us, even though, the ego has no real power of control and cannot create 100% safety in our lives, as long as the ego is in charge, which it is on this planet, and thinks it's running the show, it will be holding you tightly to the lie of safety by sticking like super glue to its comfort zone. Now, there's nothing wrong with being comfortable. In fact, it can become a precursor to a deep spiritual, mystical life experience. And the ego will often coax us to stay in an old rut pattern just to keep its distance from the fear of the unknown. Believes that it's better to stay with what has known for years, even if it feels like you are shriveling up like a lukewarm bath where there is no heat, excitement, or pizzazz. It could be anything. It could be a relationship, job, salary, overweight body, lack of vacation, or just a convenient, repetitive daily routine. You got to remember that ego would rather be comfortable in a velvet rut for 70 plus years than take a risk and step into true aliveness. Now, most of us, is one area where many of us have a hideout in this velvet rut, is in the arena of living abundantly. See, for all of us, due to past emotional programming, we may not be comfortable with actually experiencing what it is like to be truly abundant and financially free. You may unconsciously be choosing to propagate a scarcity mentality just because this is what feels the safest to your ego. It may be terrifying to accept massive abundance, since that would mean you would have to stop playing small. Just imagine, and there's lots of people like that in this very now moment on this planet. Just imagine what would happen if you decided to expand your financial frequency and stop playing it safe. To stretch out of your comfortable money zone may seem undesirable, yet it is a powerful way of redefining who you are in the world you are living in. When you continue, when any of us continue, sending out the same old vibration by remaining in the same old zone, you will tend to reap the same old levels of success and abundance. That's why people say they don't seem to be going anywhere. There just doesn't seem to be nothing happening. And when you venture out beyond your comfort zone, you discover that there are many exciting opportunities and experiences that you were previously unaware of. And this is what the vast unknown that makes up this universe truly contains. There is much more of what we do not know in outer space and inner space than what we do know, by far. And sure, the ego is terrified of these infinite possibilities, yet you can only access a truly alive and abundant life by doing the thing you are most scared to do. And that's why so many of us don't do it. True growth only really happens when you consciously choose to take that big risk to move beyond your comfort zone. That's like in yoga. While the stretching may seem and feel uncomfortable at first, there is a pleasure that comes from extending your limbs, breathing, and relaxing into a new position. This is a point where a new consciousness can be found. And the more often you do yoga, the more limber your body, your whole body, being, mind, becomes. And the easier it is for you to move into new realms of thinking. When you do the same thing with abundance in your life, you will naturally attract a greater level of abundance that you could have than you could have right now, dreamed possible. You may discover more about your hidden abundance comfort zones by answering these questions to yourself. How comfortable would you feel if someone gifted you a very large sum of money? I've asked that question to a lot of people. A lot of them say they wouldn't feel comfortable with it. There'd have to be a catch. You know, what's the catch? All right, what's in it for you? Instead of opening their arms and embracing it. How easy is it for you to ask someone to support you in creating abundance by using one of your business ideas? Most people are afraid to do that, so they poo-poo it. Never gets anywhere. They already know. See, the ego mindset, oh, they'll probably turn it down. Nah, they're probably not interested in it. How would you feel if you were to all of a sudden receive an abundance of attention, love, support, and admiration? A lot of people are scared to death about that. An abundance of attention, love, support, and admiration. How quickly do you embrace new opportunities that could lead to more abundance in your life? Remember, we're in that little velvet rut where the ego mind believes it's safe. Should never feel trapped. Really. If you do feel trapped, stuck, and imprisoned in your life, what are those all too familiar, comfortable ways of being, doing, taking, thinking, and feeling that you, that you tend to repeat every day? Where do you feel that you are most holding yourself back? Write down your top 3 life situations where you feel the most trapped. This is your lucky week to become outrageously courageous. Step out of one or all of your inner prisons. We have found that the easiest way of breaking out of your comfort zone is with little teeny steps. It's like I said, change a couple of things every day. Put them in different order. And you do not have to move to the edge of a 1,000-meter cliff to step out of your comfort zone. You can slowly stretch out of any old habit, just like you were attempting a new yoga posture or a new exercise. Next to each of your 3 top situations, write down what your personal baby step would be to move out of that old pattern. Make the effort to take that little tiny step every day this week. Every day you will be absolutely amazed at how much more of life you'll experience, manifest, and enjoy when you do whatever it takes to stretch into the beyond. See, it's the unknown. Most of us don't. See, that ego mind keeps you and say, oh, no, you don't go there. What if this or what if that? What if this happens, that happens? No, don't go there. You ever thought briefly something comes, the universe sends something in front of you, you read, whatever, and for a moment you go, boy, that would be interesting to find out what would happen with that. Maybe I should do that. And then another thought comes in, right? And says, no, it's probably a scam, it's probably this or it's probably that. Don't bother to do it. And ego mind talks you out of it. See, we're all faced with that at times. It all comes to us. But we don't really think about it. Why am I negating that so quickly? Well, it's an unknown, okay? It's not a sure thing. And it's a leap of faith. See, faith, trust, and confidence in oneself and this universe is imperative. So it's like you leap into the unknown and embrace whatever the universe sends your way. You can do crazy things, right? Like for breakfast, eat a salad instead of eggs and toast and whatever. Okay? Switch things up. Have breakfast for dinner. Little tiny things. You do these different things. You might have this regimen where you brush your teeth and you do this, you do that. Well, switch it around. Don't brush your teeth right away. Do this, and then go brush your teeth. See, I do this every day. I make it a concerted effort to something that I switch around. Not the same. Okay? And I cognitively am aware of that, so I say, okay, so what are we gonna switch and not have it in the same order? This keeps us out of the comfort zone. It really does. And when you don't fight things and you just go with it, you just go with the flow. You just float along. You just float right along. You're not in a hurry. You're not rushing. You're not grimacing. You're not tugging and pulling. You're just floating along. And you're good with that. Because your confidence, faith, and trust in yourself in this universe is grand. It's phenomenal. See, there's no, and you're in the now, right? You're in the moment, and so you're not projecting out into tomorrow or yesterday. You're not doing that. Plus, there's no worry, stress, fear, anxiety at all. It's gone. It doesn't exist. Remember, the ego mind cannot exist in the heart mind in the now because it doesn't exist there. It won't go there. It will do everything it can to keep you in its stable. And it does a good job at that. But these are all things that are truly connected. Through the years that I've been doing these meditations, it's a roadmap, highly detailed, blueprinted. And if one were to follow it, as some have and continue to do so, it opens up the new horizons for life, for expansion. Because this planet is changing, and a lot of you know it and feel it. And it's not changing for the worse. It's opening up to the God planet paradise it used to be. And everything is going way up the scale. And that's why we started these a long time ago, to prepare people for this massive shift. Now, it'd be nice if the majority of the planet embraced it, but they don't. And I explain why in these meditations and in my calls. I'll join you in meditation. I'll return to close this out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain relaxed into your body. Still as a statue, focused on your breath, rising and falling. The essence of eternal life is flowing within you now. Look, where does it come from? When you dive just a bit deeper today, you'll be presented with something extraordinary, an essence that contains an infinity of magical possibilities. This is who we all truly are. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Wednesday, September 3, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call, and after 9:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in